first just to say thank you so much for the very kind comments that I received on my Where Have I Been video. It's lovely to know that I've been missed and that you've been thinking about me. Very nice and very kind, thank you. Right, let's take a look at this. So I think up here is the book that's referred to on the first page. The Book by Design. Ooh, the remarkable story of the world's greatest invention. So it says, the Lindisfarne Gospels, probably completed in the early 8th century, is a starting point for this history of book design. Oh, blooming heck, I might have to buy this. £25. I love books like this. Anyway, drawing on the unrivaled holdings of the British Library, other publications that help tell the story include the first dated printed book, the Chinese Diamond Sutra 868, one of the first illustrated children's books, Thomas Bowman's A Description of 300 Animals from 1730, and the revolutionary penguin paperbacks of the 1930s. That looks great. So, the books on these pages are featured titles. So another one is Embers of the Hands, Hidden Histories of the Viking Age. It's by Eleanor Barraclough, 1699. Says, with a focus on the everyday humans who fell between the cracks of history, Eleanor Barraclough's creates a sense of the Viking world. Following an introduction to the era, she uses artifacts including a fragment of skull inscribed with runes asking Odin for help, a polished comb and remnants of a board game to shed light on the Vikings' religious and cultural beliefs, but also the domestic life of its people. I like the cover. Now this is another book I might be interested in. A History of Ghosts, Spirits and the Supernatural. 1499. Ancient Mesopotamian clay tablets with some of the earliest known writing reveal a culture enriched with belief in spirits. From that point, this illustrated volume sweeps through 5,000 years of mythology and religion, exploring a wide array of stories about supernatural beings, ancient gods and demons, but also the ghosts and vampires of modern popular media, reflecting on the context in which they arose and the artistic creativity they have inspired. Yeah, I think that's something I'd be interested in. At the bottom we have Dead of Winter, 10 Classic Tales for Chilling Nights. A Lawyer's Assistant, Haunted by a Killer, a mysterious book that inspires devilish This richly illustrated volume combines a series of essays on the Egyptological or Egyptological, how do you say that, background, and topics including cinemas, Freemasonry and hieroglyphics, with an illustrated guide to surviving examples of Egyptian style in England. system through devices including religious zeal, nationalist ideology, and colonisation. She reveals how their propaganda still shapes our image of ancient and modern regimes. £9.99. And then living in medieval England, the turbulent year of 1326. So it's a book connected with the book on Edward II. This seems to concern his Queen Isabella. It says, in the final months of 1326, Edward II's Queen Isabella invaded her husband's kingdom with an army of mercenaries and executed his powerful chamberlain, forcing the first abdication in English history. Based primarily on evidence preserved in royal records, this month-by-month social history sets the year of dynastic drama against events involving England's ordinary men and women, including carpenters, fishfolk, minstrels and Brewsters, whose lives continued much as normal. £9.99. This one is Anne Boleyn in London. £9.99. Anne Boleyn was educated in France, but in her early 20s she became a member of Henry VIII's court, which led to their ill-fated marriage and her imprisonment in the Tower. Lisa Chapman, or Lisa, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, focuses on Anne's complex role in London society as a fashion icon and arts patron who was fully engaged in religious and intellectual debates. Examining her contemporary reputation and image, the author casts a light on everyday life, gossip and politics, in Tudor London. And if you like Tudors, this is The Tudors in Love, the courtly code behind the last medieval dynasty. Sarah Grist Wood, £9.99. Henry VIII's long pursuit of Anne Boleyn would not have been possible, Sarah Grist Wood argues, without the model of courtly love ingrained in the romantic imagination of Tudor aristocrats. This historical analysis traces the origin of this chivalric ideal to the medieval romances of the 12th century and explores its influence on Tudor politics from the marriage of Henry VII to Elizabeth I's suitors and favourites. And sticking with kings and queens, we've got Rebellion in the Reign of Charles II by Julian Whitehead, £9.99. Despite the positive aspects of Charles II's reign, with its freedom and flourishing of science and the arts, this study shows how the euphoria of the Restoration soon evaporated as the deep problems, divisions and distrust of the past re-emerged. With the insight of a former government intelligence officer, Whitehead describes the numerous plots, uprisings and subversive activities of the period, and the covert operations and general dirty tricks that enable the king to overcome opposition and intrigue. Yeah, nice set of history books there. Bit more coffee. Art's Daily Planner, Potting Shed Stationery, Bohemian Sticky Notes Folder, A Cloud a Day Journal, The Her Notebook, Art and Architecture and Photography and Design books all together. snow spiders.